Hi folks, welcome back to another video of the beginner series. And in this video, we are going to see uh, the concept of variables, right? So in the last video, we have written this particular program. We were actually giving a message, and in that message, we also had a number. So it was basically the same thing that we had done earlier using the system.out.println method to print our message, right? So we were using in whatever we were writing inside the double inverted commas, everything was getting written here. But what if, but what if we want to actually store your name somewhere, this regro tech, we want to store somewhere, and then we want to store this. So before getting into this concept of uh, variables, we'll first try to understand what these variables are accompanied with. So these variables are nothing but a storage area that will store your values. Like regrotech, we can store in a variable and it will store it, and in another variable we can also store this particular number, right? So what we can do is we can first identify what exactly, okay, so what exactly are the data types. So data types, what are they, is like what we are supplying. So if you see, this particular thing is all only a text, and if we accompany this is also a number. But this particular thing, we can actually have it as only number. Contact number can only be numbers, right? We cannot have anything else in that contact number. So what we can do here is we have to understand first कि all the variables that we are going to declare, we have to first tell कि this particular variable will store which type of data, whether it will store a number, whether it will store a sentence or word, or whether it will store something else. Okay, so this definition that we are defining, this what is the data type that we are going to store, the type of the data that we are going to store in the variable is called your data type. Okay, so in this data type, we are generally going to look into this beginner series with the most popular data sets. So the most popular ones are basically, the most used ones are basically your to store a number. So what we use to store a number is your int. Int basically stands for your integer. But remember, Java is case sensitive, so this int starts with small. Okay, small I. And then if you want to store a decimal number is like if you want to store anything like 10.5, 10.8, 20 point something, 100 point something with a point. Okay, so if you want to store something like that, then you can use double. So what will be the data type of that? That is called your double. Okay, and if you are using a sentence or a word or any combination of characters, it could be your like regrotech 123, regrotech 567, regrotech at the rate. So anything that you're using, including your special characters, including your numbers, including your normal alphabets. So all of these you can use, and this will be by declaring your variable as string. And this string s is capital. Always remember, this string s is capital, and remaining two, that is for the normal numbers without point. Without point, you will be having it as without decimal places will be in the int, and anything with the decimal will be stored as double. Okay, so these are the basic things that we need to understand before we move in with the variable concept. So let us get started. So in this particular program only, we are going to change. I'm not going to create a new program here. If you wish to, you definitely can go ahead and create a new program, right? So what I am going to do is I am going to first store this regrotech value. First, I'm going to store this regrotech value inside a variable, right? And variable is what? Variable is just a storage space. That is, in the memory, it will just create a space and store your value. Whatever value you will be giving, it is going to store that. Okay, so since this is written in this, all these are your characters, these are words, or you can consider it as a sentence or anything that you want to, you can store it. So for storing your words, what you have to use, you have for storing your word or words or sequence of words, that is in the string, right? So we have first, you have to write string with capital S, string, and then variable name you can give anything. So what exactly it is? It is a name. So I'm just giving name. So you can give anything, name 1 2, name 1 2 3, whatever you feel like you can give. I'm just giving this as name, that it is taking a name as input. Okay, or I am giving institute name, institute name. Okay, institute name equal to, and then always remember when you are whenever you are giving a string value, always you write it inside your double inverted comma. Only for string value you will write it inside your double inverted comma. Always a string value is written inside a double inverted comma, and always remember this. You cannot afford to miss this. Okay. So come on. So we are going to write this, and what is the name? Name is regrotech. So I'm just copying it from here, Control C, and I'm pasting it here, Control V, right? So this is done. And what I said, any code that is written inside your braces will have a semicolon, unless and until I tell you at few exception points where we are not going to put, right? So this particular will be a particular statement will be accompanied with your semicolon. Okay. So this string institute, this is string is only telling you what type of data I want to store. So it is saying like string. So for string, what type of data all we can store? We can store a word or a sentence or a combination of characters. Combination of characters could be alphabets, numbers, and combination of alphabets, numbers, and special characters also. So those things you can store inside your string. Okay. And always remember, string has to be stored inside your double inverted comma. This is very important. See, if I just remove this double inverted comma, this is not going to work. This is not going to work. This is going to give an error. So always remember, whenever you are using string, you have to use double inverted comma. Okay. So this is fine. Now moving to the next thing. The next thing that we want to store is this number, right? If you want to store this number. So for number, what do we need? And this is not a decimal number. This is just a normal number. Okay. Let me just write the complete contact number, 8877, and then we have 423575. Okay, so this is our complete contact number. So I'm just storing this in the contact number. I'm just giving Control C, and I'm just storing it here, string. And then this is contact CNT number. I'm writing CNT number NO. CNT NO equal to, you can give any name. You can give any name. When it comes to name, just remember the naming convention that you are not supposed to just use space in between and no other special character except $sign and underscore, and $sign generally gives a warning, so please avoid that too. Okay. So string contact number is, and since it is a number, we don't need to write it inside double inverted comma. Numbers can be written simply. Okay, simply you can write. So I'm just copying this, Control C and Control V. Only for the string value you need to use double inverted comma, and this is done. And then a semicolon, don't forget a semicolon. So this is perfectly fine. Okay, so this is, oh, I will give it as a string. I don't need a string. What I need for numbers, what do we have to store a number? We need to have it as int, int, and small int, int. Okay, so here if you see, now this is giving an error. I think the length of the number is too long. We can just reduce this because it is out of range, it is showing. Okay, so let us just reduce this to some other number. This is perfectly fine if you see, right? So we have a number limitation which we will be discussing further in the course part and not in the beginners list. You definitely can check out the range of this particular thing, right? So this particular number has been stored here, and we are going to now try to print this number. Okay, suppose if we have simply stored this number, this is perfectly fine. This is stored in our memory location, and we want to actually use this. If you want to use this and want to print it in this message, how can we do it? So suppose in I am regrotech, but regrotech is already stored in this institute name, right? So whatever message you want to display, you put it inside. How you put it? You put it inside your inverted comma, double inverted comma, correct? So I am going to do I am, okay, I am, and then the institute name, correct? So since it is stored somewhere, you cannot directly pass over here. You cannot write INST, institute underscore name. If you write it this way, what will happen is, if you see, I'm just printing this in INST name, okay? So what will happen is, whatever you put inside a double inverted comma, we see that everything is displayed as it is inside that, right? So we cannot do that, because if we want a regrotech over here, it won't be visible because we have written inst name. Okay, so we'll just try to run this, right click, and then we'll try to run this and see whether it is giving regrotech or inst name. So here if you see, it is giving inst name. Why? Because everything that we give inside double inverted comma is printed as is. So we cannot give inst name over here because we need regrotech, right? So how can we do it? We can do it in this way. we can use a plus operator, plus, and then you have to give this particular name, inst name, control C, because we have stored our regrowtech in that, control V. So what it will do now is I am regrowtech, it will give. Okay, so light, we will just try to see whether we are getting or not. Right click and then we will run this. So here see, I am getting this. The value that was stored in the inst name is now visible here, right? So whatever value I had stored it is now visible over here. Now I also want to display my contact number. How can I do it? So what does plus do? Plus is basically using to add your content, right? Now I want to add more content into this. So if I want to display a message, if I want to display a message, so that is a fixed message, that the value of that is not stored somewhere. I want to write that message. So what I have to do is I have to use this plus operator, plus operator, to actually add it to the previous content, and inside double bracket I will write I am this regrowtech, full stop, and then my contact number is, okay. So number is we have given, and then again I am giving plus, so that we can add the content from this variable, right? So control C, and I'm going to put it here, control V. Okay, so just go through this program and we will see is our message. So whatever we have written inside double inverted comma, this will print as is. Whenever you want to print the exact message, something that is not going to change at all, put it inside your double inverted comma. And if you want to use any value that you have already stored somewhere, you can use it by putting your plus operator, which is actually merging your two things, right? Which is only merging your two things. And again, see, again we want to merge this message also, so we have again used a plus sign. So whenever you want to merge two things, just use plus sign, which is actually called a concatenation. Okay, which is actually a concatenation operator over here, to concatenate two different things, to merge them into a single line. And again, see, again we have used a plus. What this plus will do, this will again concatenate the CNT number, whatever value is there in the CNT number. CNT number has 887742, right? Okay, so we will just simply run this program and see what our output is. I have already saved it, and now I'm going to run it. So here, if you see, we have got a perfect message here. I am from regrowtech. My contact number is 887742. So this is the perfect message, and now you can try more things. You can just try to print something like this. You can store your father's name. You can store your father's name, and you can also see your father's name. Since it is a name, that means it is a word. So you will store it in a string type, right? And then you can store your mother's name, and then you can, again this will be string type, and then you can give your age. Okay, your age will be your, suppose the number means int type, and then you are giving your bank balance, bank balance. So what will be bank balance generally is a decimal number, so you can use double, 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 right? So you can use combination of these, like the message could be uh, somewhat like hi. You can print this message, hi, I am, and your name, whatever your name is, I'm giving regrowtech. Okay, and then my father's name is xyz, and my mother's name is, you can just try printing this message, mother's name is abc, and my bank balance is, whatever your bank balance is, suppose 50,000 or whatever it is. So you can just give it. So bank balance also you can store it. So for these four, you can create a variable and try to use the system.out.println to print all the details about yourself. Okay, so this is the task that you can do after this particular video. Okay, thank you for your time, and meet you in the next video. Thank you.